Indiana seminaries say Carmel McEnroy was fired for publicly challenging the policy prohibiting the ordination of women. McEnroy is suing St. Meinrad's to get her job back.
Well, the city of Indianapolis is getting a big boost in its efforts to help the homeless. Mayor Stephen Goldsmith received a check today for more than $6.5 million from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The funding will go to 5 local programs that help those in need of shelter. The announcement was made in front of the Burton House, a historic downtown building that will be transformed into new homes for the needy.
Well, imagine a day when you can get your favorite musician's newest song minutes after it's recorded.
According to the man responsible for computer programs and videos like this and some 30 albums, the day is coming soon. Todd Rundgren is in the city this evening, and I'll talk with him next.
2 copy machines. The Minolta from Rex has the Rex service team to stand behind it and keep it running right. What's behind those other guys' copiers? Good question.
Nobody knows business like Rex.
Rex sells fax machines, electronic typewriters, computers, printers, Minolta copiers, and more. And every machine from Rex comes with this handy maintenance kit.
Nobody knows business like Rex.
This is a cut of USDA choice beef from Meijer. At many other stores, if you aren't satisfied with a cut of beef, you'd be lucky just to get your money back. At Meijer, if our beef doesn't meet your expectations, return it, and we'll give you double your money back. Anything less, and we couldn't look ourselves in the mirror.
DeVille has the airbag system, helping protect all 3 front seat passengers. More people choose the Cadillac DeVille than any other luxury car in America. Count on Cadillac this summer. Current Cadillac owners can lease a new DeVille at its lowest lease rate of the year. Just $449 a month for 24 months and $1,800 down. Cadillac, creating a higher standard. Visit your Cadillac dealers, your luxury leaders.
Denture odor. If you could get this close, you would see what causes it. Germs. Introducing Efferdent Plus with Listerine ingredients. New Efferdent Plus not only fights stains, it kills 99.9% of the germs that cause denture odor as it turns from blue to gold. And if you get this close, you'll know why that's important. New Efferdent Plus with Listerine ingredients. Kill the germs, kill the odor.
Discover unbeatable savings on thousands of home furnishing items like this 3-piece dinette, only $88. It's the Super Saver Sale now at Value City Furniture.
Some Indiana University basketball fans want to help Coach Bob Knight pay his debt to the NCAA. Knight was fined $30,000 for a post-game outburst in March. Whiteco Outdoor Advertising is paying $1,000 for space on each of 3 of its own billboards. 2 billboards are in Indianapolis. The 3rd is on State Road 37 north of Bloomington. Whiteco's regional vice president and general manager thinks the coach's punishment didn't fit the crime.
The fine to me was excessive based on fines in the in the past to college coaches.
You know, you only got 2 people they're going to tell you I'm not going to.
Knight was fined for yelling at an NCAA official who organized a news briefing for sports writers reporting on the IU tournament loss to Missouri last season.
Time magazine calls him the New Age Wizard of Oz. Todd Rundgren is always up to something new, whether it involves music, computers, or video. Actually, Rundgren, who's in town for a concert at the Vogue tonight, has several things on his plate now, things that could change the way we listen to music. He's perhaps best remembered for the first song he ever wrote, or for a song that's become a favorite on Friday afternoon radio shows and pro basketball PA systems. But since his professional musical career began nearly 30 years ago, Todd Rundgren has become as much a technologist as a songwriter and guitarist.
For the most part, it's just the fact that I fear no machine in a certain sense.
Rundgren, who produces other artists as well as himself, first built a recording studio, then he became the first rock artist to build a video studio. He's written computer programs and put together videos using extensive computer animation. His last record was the first ever interactive musical release. You could manipulate the music to reflect your mood. And now Rundgren is the first to release his music on CD Plus only. The disc can be used in a CD player or a computer. It will include a video suite where you can edit footage from last year's tour. There will also be graphics to accompany each song on the CD, and you'll be able to highlight the lyrics on screen. The CD Plus of The Individualist will be out next month. A cassette version will be released tomorrow, and an interactive disc is due out later in the year. More and more musicians seem to be climbing on the interactive bandwagon, releasing discs that contain music and computer information. But Rundgren says most miss the point.
Most artists, with the blessings of their record labels, are going to essentially fill up that extra area with biographical content or stuff that they've already generated, that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with that project in particular. And that's just, it's kind of lazy, it's a lazy man's approach to doing it.
Todd is also developing an interactive music network for the Time Warner cable system. He says users will be able to decide what they want and get it.
We can put, theoretically the history of music on a giant server somewhere, and then people can start asking for musical combinations that cross stylistic lines and artistic lines and time lines. There's music that you may like, but I may not like, but neither of us have heard of, that you can suddenly find. Your favorite music in all the world is something that you've never heard before, and you've just never been able to get at it. And so the idea of music online in the long run is to shorten the path between you and music that is really sort of meant for you.
Todd says online music could eliminate the need for record stores someday. Tonight's show at the Vogue begins at 8 o'clock. Some tickets are still available at the door.
Well, it feels like we're sliding into a heat wave. Cliff has the high numbers coming up.
Plus a cool approach to beating the heat. Some advice from the animal kingdom as News 8 at 5 o'clock continues.
What are you guys doing here?
Mrs. Phillips doesn't want us to start today.
What?
She said she tried to call you a dozen times.
I never got a message.
She said your line was always busy. And how's she gonna talk to the answering machine if you're talking on the phone?
That's a problem.
That's exactly what Mrs. Phillips said.
Ameritech voicemail answers your phone when you're on the phone. Order now and get 1 month free.
So what good is this answering machine?
Ameritech, your link to better communication.
Now this is different. Steak & Ale's new sizzling Cabernet strip. A fresh New York strip, served with a delicate Cabernet sauce. You'll hear it long before you see it, as it makes its way from the kitchen to your table. You could say it's put the sizzle back into steak. The sizzling Cabernet strip, only at Steak & Ale, where great steak is our signature.
Notice, beginning this Wednesday, 7 leading dealers will transfer hundreds of vehicles to the Casselton Square Mall. Over 4,000 vehicles offered direct to the public at the Casselton Square Mall. New cars, trucks, and vans up to $8,000 off. Prices start at $77.95. 200 priced at $12,000 or less. Used cars, trucks, and vans up to $10,000 off. Every price post. Financing as low as 1.9%. Buy with no money down. Indiana's biggest savings event begins Wednesday at the Casselton Square Mall.
Hi, I'm Jim Palmer.
And I'm Joni Palmer.
Ever try to find time to talk about your personal finances? In most marriages, when one is arriving home,
the other one is just leaving.
And if one is a morning person,
the other is sure to be a night owl.
But regardless of the time of day, you can call the money store to refinance your home or get a home equity loan at 1-800-LOAN-YES. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's weekdays, weekends, holidays, day or night. Just right for everyone's schedule.
A little monkey business causes quite a stir for a Long Island woman. She was waiting for her ride to Sunday school when the doorbell rang. That's when she discovered 2 monkeys were on her front porch. Turns out the monkeys belonged to a neighbor. He helped animal control officials nab the 2 monkeys. The owner faces charges of improper confinement of animals. Well, monkeys and other animals are trying to beat the heat in Europe. Zookeepers in Germany are helping their animals deal with the 98-degree temperatures by feeding them ice cream and popsicles. And the elephants are being treated to cool therapeutic baths. Beating the heat.
Yeah, this might be the week to load up on popsicles, at least from what Cliff's telling us.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, sirree, boy. We average temperatures in the 90s about 20 days out of spring and summer. 20 days of 90 and above. We've only had 3, so it looks like we're going to get some more here. 91 degrees the high in Orleans Elementary in Orange County, way down south there. Nothing in the old rain gauge. Their current temperature is 89 with a light wind. Let's see what's going on radar-wise throughout the region. And I'll tell you what. Let me step out of the way. Not much. Here's some isolated storms in western Pennsylvania, down over Tennessee and Kentucky. And there was a little shower right up here in the northwest. You can just see it come across the lake there, and then it's pretty well dissipated. But beyond that, clear skies throughout the region. Here's the forecast for Indianapolis this evening. Mostly clear, mild night ahead. That's the average low. Well, average low is 65, and we'll be in the mid-60s somewhere there near that tonight. And tomorrow, mostly sunny, very warm. High temperature up near 90, so that could mean 89 or 90. And then for Wednesday, I put in here hot because that looks like the low 90s will be in.
Oh, we're ready, Cliff. Thank you. Some Hoosier athletes share some special stories after competing in a world-class event.
And you'll meet an Indiana woman who's hoping to walk into the national spotlight.
I'm Ray Rice, and we'd like you to meet Lisa Sontag, who is trying out for the U.S. Olympic team. She is a race walker. Tonight's Indiana Zone just ahead on News 8.
Bob, Ivy Tech. The new widget the world wants that Bob makes. Notice the link here between Bob and his wonderful widget. The cold, hard truth is there wouldn't be a widget, not to mention Bob's widget, a job for Bob even, or a story without Ivy Tech. We made Bob valuable because Ivy Tech is the link between Bob and the local workplace, Bob and a better job, Bob and a better Bob. Bob and business, which is good for the state, starting with Bob. Because we taught Bob how to make widgets, and his employer was in the market for Bobs that could do that. Ivy Tech State College, because life's not a fairy tale.
Hi, I'm Billy Packer with a few facts about home equity loans from Mr. Cash. Did you know that Mr. Cash makes home equity loans to homeowners at competitive terms, and that you can pay off your loan anytime without penalties or additional fees, and the interest you do pay is often tax deductible? At Mr. Cash, your credit history is not a problem. Just give us a call and a Mr. Cash representative can come to your home with a no-obligation free proposal to get you the money you need right now. Call Mr. Cash now, 1-800-444-CASH.
Just give me a sign. I gotta make you mine.
Every sign points to a short, hot summer at your local Chevy dealer with a summer spectacular on Chevy's hottest cars and trucks for one very short time. For $259 a month, make this nicely equipped Lumina yours. All that and more from a Consumer's Digest Best Buy.
I gotta make you mine.
Make it yours, but make it fast to your local Chevy dealers.
You know, ice cream isn't the only fun dessert, because Homemade brand has brought that great flavor and tasty Oreo cookie chunks on over to make our 95% fat-free frozen yogurt. Homemade brand premium frozen yogurt. Almost fat-free fun. Homemade brand premium light in all your favorite flavors gives you delicious, chunky goodness with fewer calories than your other favorite treats. And the fewer calories you put on, the fewer you have to take off. Homemade brand premium light. Goodness by the chunk.
Arby's new 99-cent Western barbecue melt. Authentic barbecue sauce and a zesty Western sauce atop Arby's slow-roasted beef. It's the best 99-cent taste around.
After 9 days of Olympic Games in New Haven, Connecticut, Indiana's Special Olympians finally arrived home. Nearly 70 athletes from Indiana competed in a range of events, from ping pong to basketball. The games ended on Sunday, and the athletes arrived home today wearing medals around their necks and sharing their experiences with family and friends.
I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I don't think it's going to impact on Anthony for maybe a few years even, for him to realize the magnitude of it. But he's worked hard to get there, and all the boys on the team worked really hard, and they deserved the trip and anything that went along with it.
The 1995 Special Olympic Games is the largest sporting event this year. 7,000 athletes from more than 140 countries competed in the events. Well, of all the events in the Summer Olympics, race walking might be one of the least glamorous, but don't tell that to Lisa Sontag.
A professional physiologist, Lisa is an amateur race walker who hopes to make it to the Olympics next summer in Atlanta. Ray Rice has tonight's Indiana Zone.
Lisa Sontag is no stranger to the track. She began running when she was 13 and later won a running scholarship to Indiana State. But she doesn't run anymore. Now she walks. Lisa is a race walker. One foot must remain on the surface at all times and the knee kept straight on push-off. Plagued with injuries as a runner, she gave it up for walking in 1990. 2 years ago, she became a race walker, and today, she is one of the fastest in the United States.
Typically, I train 7 days a week. Every few weeks, I get a day off. I get in approximately 40 miles a week.
Her goal is to become a member of the U.S. Olympic team. She can do that if she turns in some good times in a number of key races this year, and if she does well in the Olympic trials in June of '96.
There's always a good chance, but you just never know. It's always who shows up that day and how you are that day, whatever your biorhythms are. It depends. It doesn't matter what I've done this last 4 years. It's what you do on that day.
In the span of 2 short years, Lisa has become nationally ranked. But did she ever consider herself an Olympic hopeful?
Never thought that. I just was in it more for fitness, and in fact, it wasn't until the last 2 years that I really was nationally ranked and got more into the national caliber races.
58. Oh, she moves. She's now working to shave 6 seconds from her 10-kilometer time. That's a second a mile. Doesn't sound like much, but she'll spend a year on that. And if all goes well, Lisa Sontag could be walking for the gold. I'm Ray Rice, Wish TV News 8 with Indiana's Own.
Tried that before, and it is a lot easier to run.
I bet you use a lot more muscles.
Yeah, you'd almost have to. It looks
controlling
painful.
your body.
Indeed. Time for Track Talk, I think.
It's Monday, so it must be. Derek and Mark standing by with that.
We do. We have great IndyCar, we have great NASCAR highlights, and we have you coming up next with Derek Daly's Track Talk. Stay with us.
First and foremost, this is an all-brick home. That's certainly a fine-looking animal you folks have there. What is he, a long-haired shepherd?
A wolf.
A wolf. I'm sure you know the many advantages of an all-brick home. Did I say something that upset him?
Once upon a time, he had a very bad experience with an all-brick house.
A bad experience with a brick home? That's very unusual when you consider that brick is relatively maintenance-free and increases the resale value of your home. You can huff and you can puff, but you can't blow a brick home down. Maybe he doesn't know that with all its beauty and advantages, an all-brick home costs only about 6% more on the national average than homes that aren't brick.
He knows. Call 1-800-801-6767 for a copy of the Homebuyer's Guide to Brick and find out why brick makes a ton of sense.
Saving money is a piece of cake during Tom Raper's 31st anniversary sale. Richmond, Indiana. New and used motorhomes, diesel pushers, travel trailers, fifth wheels, tent campers, truck campers, cargo trailers, truck caps, $99. Mobile, sectional, modular homes. Largest, finest parts accessory store. Nobody beats Tom Raper's deal. Call free 1-800-RAPER-RV. Tom Raper, Midwest largest, Richmond, Indiana. Closed Sunday.
Save today, Tom Raper's way.
Call free 1-800-RAPER-RV.
To celebrate Apollo 13, Hardees salutes great American heroes like Mark Stevens, who picked up a bring-em-home family value meal at Hardees, just $13. 10 pieces of fresh and juicy fried chicken, 5 biscuits, choice of 3 large side dishes, and 1 large serving of peach cobbler. Making him a hero to his family. Nowhere in this great land can you find a greater value, just $13.
Fresh from the kitchen at Hardees over.
Derek Daly's Track Talk is sponsored by Patago Chevy City, where the people make the difference.
Welcome to Derek Daly's Track Talk. And Derek, it's been a week now since the Indianapolis Motor Speedway announced their changes for next year's qualifying. What's the fallout been on the IndyCar?
There is definitely some fallout. And one of the priorities of Tony George's new IRL series was to give the young American an opportunity to come to IndyCar. But now think about it. If 25 positions are blocked out, they've actually taken away the opportunity for some of the young Americans already in IndyCar racing.
Front page of USA Today and several national publications seems to be getting the attention around the country that we gave it last week.
Yes, indeed. And what I hate to see is mudslinging. And I hope it doesn't come to a personal battle between Tony George and IndyCar, because you know who gains? Nobody.
Yesterday, a lot of gaining going on at the track of the IndyCar competition in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
And how long will it be before some Formula One team presses millions of dollars into Jacques Villeneuve's back pocket and entices him to Formula One? Because yesterday, again, he showed just how good he really is. Dominated the whole weekend with the car out of control sometimes. But look at this here. The most dangerous incident we have seen for a long, long time at 170 miles an hour. This impact here between Al Unser Jr. and Michael Andretti, when Michael, quite frankly, never saw Al Jr. coming down the outside and was very lucky not to have a more serious accident. Here's a crash between teammates. Give each other a nice friendly hug. It was Danny Sullivan and Maurizio Gugelmin. Gugelmin had the crash first, was stopped on the racetrack, and Sullivan had nowhere to go. Thankfully, there were no injuries here whatsoever. But Jacques Villeneuve continued to motor on. A late race yellow gave Paul Tracy an opportunity maybe to close up, but he wasn't able to match the speed of young Jacques Villeneuve, who pockets another load of championship points and makes it even more difficult for people to believe they can catch him and possibly beat him to this year's championship. Remember, they have 4 weekends racing in a row coming up, and the man who shows consistency and reliability and raw speed like Villeneuve yesterday will possibly end up as being the champion. And this gave him a commanding lead on top of the points table.
And it was just last Monday that we learned Paul Tracy would run in this race because he had the pins inserted, 5 of them into his shifting foot, his left foot, where he had to hit the clutch all day yesterday. A great effort by him. What about his future next year? A little interesting twist.
Well, of course, the silly season is in full swing, and the rumor mill has it that Paul Tracy may go back to Roger Penske, who actually has an option on his services for next year as we speak.
What happens then with someone like Danny Sullivan?
Well, Danny Sullivan, believe it or not, may end up in the television booth. Oh, did I say that?
The good old boys were in New Hampshire, and Derek, once again, we've talked so many times about how last year's Brickyard was possibly the coming out party for Jeff Gordon, and this year it just seems that that certainly has been the case.
And this was the Magic Mile at New Hampshire, and one of the first men to the wall, Jimmy Hensley, finds that unforgiving concrete not to his liking. Green flag comes again, and Hut Strickland gets a love tap and spins gently, I would say, into the wall, but puts him out for the day. And then Jeff Gordon takes advantage of everybody else's problems. He crashed this car earlier in a practice session. They rebuilt it. His crew told him, crash all you want. If you give us 110%, we will give it back to you. And here's the result of a man on top of his game. And thankfully, justice is finally served, and Jeff Gordon leads the championship.
Finally, he does, over Sterling Martin, Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, and Ted Musgrave. Derek, thanks very much for being with us on Track Talk. We'll be back again next Monday. Now, tonight at 6, we'll be live at Busch Stadium, where the Indians will hook it up with